Okay, hello everyone. I'm Ting Ting, and I'm a GovHack volunteer for New South Wales this year.
Hi, I'm Steph. I'm also a volunteer for New South Wales. And before we begin, I'd just like to pause to reflect on the fact that we reside on the lands of the world's oldest living civilization. I pay my respects to the Guigal, Bidjigal, and the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, where I'm streaming this event from. I also acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands from where all of you are watching, and all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples participating in GovHack. I pay my respect to elders past and present and celebrate the diversity of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and their ongoing cultures and connections to the lands and waters of Australia.
So hopefully you're here because you're interested in participating in GovHack this year, or you're interested to know more about one of the best hackathons you can attend this year. So the largest open data hackathon in the Southern Hemisphere, GovHack, is sponsored by the Department of Planning, Industry and Environment, SME Tech, and X15 Ventures, powered by CommBank. In the next 30 minutes, we will go through what is GovHack, why and how you can get involved. You'll also hear exclusively from Vanessa Gordon, Director of Place from the Department of Planning, Industry and Environment, about how we can use open data to create better public places. This will happen towards the end of the live stream, so make sure you stay until the end. So the last housekeeping before we kick off. If you have any questions, please put in the chat box and the GovHack New South Wales team will help you out, or join us over Zoom after the presentation for some mingling and further QAs.
Thanks, Ting Ting. But first of all, the best way to introduce GovHack is through this quick 42-second video. Let's play the video now.
Awesome. So hopefully the video is getting you excited about the event that's happening from August 20th to the 22nd. Registration is now open at hackerspace.govhack.org.
Yeah, we're nearly there, not long to go. So let's get started. Next slide, please. What do we do? Oh, one more slide. And another slide. There we are. Okay, so what does GovHack do? Ting Ting, you've been a participant and a volunteer for GovHack. So could you explain for people like me who are new to GovHack, what is GovHack all about?
So GovHack is basically a competition of ideas that runs across one weekend. Starting from the Friday night of 20th August this year, hackers come together to form teams, typically on the Friday night, and you can form teams as well on the Saturday morning. And as a team or individual, they agree on which challenge to tackle and participate in what has now become one of the world's largest open data competitions.
Wow, one of the largest open data competitions. That's pretty impressive. And is this year's event going to be in person or online?
Well, traditionally, GovHack has always been run in person. However, this year, due to COVID, we are running this year's event fully digitally, same as last year. So this really opened up opportunities for us to collaborate broadly across different regions and use innovative tools to hack.
Okay, so fully digitally this year. Hopefully that'll give those of us in lockdown something exciting to do. So Ting Ting, why the name GovHack?
Next slide, please, and I'll explain. Well, GovHack doesn't just use any open data. It was formed with the objective to raise the profile of open government data. It provides an opportunity for government, citizens like us, and industry to come together and collaborate through open data. It showcases that open data can be a mechanism for identifying and solving some of the deep-rooted social, economic, and environmental challenges. The competition also aims to highlight the increasing value of open data as a tool to promote transparency, strengthen democracy, and develop trust. Really, there's so much history behind the name GovHack, and I cannot fully explain in this session. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. What is the purpose of GovHack?
Okay, that's a bit simpler. So it's by making use of the government data available to the public, we want to create projects that better our lives and communities. I mean, who doesn't really want to do that?
I know, right? And I really love that the whole purpose of GovHack is to make communities a better place using open data, which is one of the main reasons that I wanted to get involved with GovHack this year.
I know, and if you are interested in volunteering with GovHack, check out our website govhack.org for how to get involved. So next slide, please.
So, Ting Ting, can you tell us who can participate in GovHack? Do you need to be a skilled hacker?
That's the best part of GovHack that I love so much. So, to join GovHack, you don't have to be a software developer, engineer, or know how to code quickly. You can be anyone who loves a good problem to solve and want to be involved. You can be a one-man team or form a team of 10 members maximum to complement your skills. The way I like to think about it is that you're forming a startup company and you need a variety of skill sets. And also, given that we're fully digital this year, next slide, please. You can join hands with all hackers anywhere in Australia and New Zealand. If you are overseas at the moment due to the current travel restrictions, but otherwise you will reside within the ANZ region, then you can still participate in this year's GovHack.
Great. Next slide, please. It's great that it's open to so many people and you don't need to be a software engineer or a coder. Anyone can really do it. Can you tell us about some of the benefits in taking part in GovHack? What do participants get out of it, apart from having a very, very full-on weekend?
I know it's a bit of a commitment, isn't it? But aren't you bored under lockdown? Don't you want to have some fun? I mean, just kidding. Well, it's a bit of commitment, but let me convince you. Not only you make lifelong friends, just like me and you, Steph, through GovHack, you build valuable skills that you can show off on your CV, entrepreneurial skills, time management skills, teamwork, communication, cope with stress, fast learning. Oh my God, you name it. And you can showcase how data can make a truly positive impact to the world, not to mention the great networking opportunity you will have through GovHack. So register now at hackerspace.govhack.org.
So it sounds like there are a lot of benefits to taking part, and one of them being making our community a better place by solving challenges. And can I have the next slide, please? Can you tell us a bit more about the kind of challenges that we're trying to solve this year?
I love this year's challenges. I mean, I do have a bias of 2021 challenges. So we have a total of 4 themes this year. The first one is energy and infrastructure. So thinking, energy security, perhaps, agriculture and environment. How can we solve environmental issues with open data? Perhaps digital earth. And the next one, our digital future. I mean, I'm hoping for less QR codes here. And lastly, but not least, health and well-being, which is really one of our everybody's top of mind at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Next slide, please. So those are some great challenges. And are we provided with the open data to solve these challenges?
Well, by the name open data, they are all literally available online, which makes them open source data. You can Google them straight away if you want, but of course, GovHack makes it easier for you. Once you register on hackerspace.govhack.org, there will be a data portal where you can then browse through relevant datasets for this year's challenge. So I'm so excited, and you've all waited long enough for this. Now I would like to introduce Vanessa, Director of Place in the Place Design and Public Spaces Division of the Department of Planning, Industry and Environment. Vanessa's team will be contributing 4 New South Wales challenges this year, so listen up. Hi, Vanessa.
Hi, Ting Ting.
Hello, have I introduced you all right? Do you want to introduce yourself as well?
No, absolutely. You've done a fabulous job.
Thank you so much. So, I'm so interested in what the challenges that the department is coming up with. But first of all, my question is, what are public spaces and why do we care about them? Like, not to mention we're kind of all under lockdown now.
Yeah, thank you. It's a great question. And of course, I'd like to start by acknowledging I'm meeting with you from Camaragal country in Sydney and pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging. All public space is on country, and it's really important for us to remember that in the work that we do. So I'm a director in the Department of Planning, Industry and Environment, and I sit in what's called the Place Design and Public Space Division. It's this division that is a really multidisciplinary group. There's government architects, strategic planning that shape our neighbourhoods, funding of infrastructure, and my area, which is focused on public spaces. We really want to lift the bar in our built environment, in our neighbourhoods, in our communities, in our cities, and create long-term public benefit that's really about livability and sustainability. So I'm part of quite a small but agile and relatively new team that's come together with this really keen focus on public space now, but also leaving a legacy for the future. We've really embraced the United Nations definition of public space, and these are the spaces that are, it's any place that's publicly owned, of public use, is accessible and enjoyable by all for free without a profit motive. So I know that most of you are jumping to, that's my local park. Yes, and. So it's your park, it's your libraries, your museums, the galleries, it's the high streets. It's really where those well-being and environmental and cultural and social benefits are gathered at the hearts of our community. The benefits of public space are so evident. I think for all of you online right now, as individuals, where do you go for a run? Where do you play your sport? Where do you meet friends? Where do you connect? Build knowledge, experience nature, have access to information and beauty and wonder. These are just such essential parts of our communities. There are democratic spaces. Any age, any background can go to these spaces, and it's where we really see those wellbeing benefits of our communities realised. And what COVID has shown us is how important these places have become to each and every one of us in these past 18 months. I think the value of public space is now so evident, perhaps before what we took for granted is now really highly valued. They're no longer a nice to have, they are everybody's business. So my team was formed to work across government, industry and community across New South Wales. The Premier identified a number of priorities at the beginning of this most recent term, where she wanted government to really achieve great outcomes for the community. But all the priorities were around really difficult problems to solve. So the challenge that was given to us was to increase the number of homes within walkable distance of quality public space by 10% by 2023. So it's about walkability, it's about having quality public space within 10 minutes walk of your home. People in Sydney have quite a good access, but it's quality equally distributed. And when we talk about public spaces and places, these are spaces that people have made meaningful. So it's about quality, green, open and public space as they help create really healthy, happy and more resilient communities.
You really touched on, thank you so much for that. That's so much information. I'm trying to download all that. And because I love public spaces, but from slightly a different perspective, I'm a K-pop in public dancer. So I really appreciate having that public space out there. And I know Australia has that advantage of having great greenery spaces. And that's really gonna, I think, personal opinion, make us stand out in the post-COVID world where we need to live more flexibly. So you touched on, it's a really challenging thing to address to, and that's why it made it to the premier priorities. What is difficult about making public spaces available and meaningful at the same time for the communities, you think?
Yeah, I think it's not just about the quantity of public space. I mean, we very much are looking at how do we deliver more, better and activated public space? Because to create meaning, it's about the attachment the community has and the value the community gains from those public spaces. So one is you need a multidisciplinary approach, and that's why I love GovHack. You need architects, GIS experts, engineers, policy people, planners, event managers to come together around a shared vision. I mean, the public spaces that we all enjoy now may have been envisioned decades ago, and we are really creating the benefit from that. So delivering on the Premier's priority is not just about what we can deliver now, but how do we create reform and more access and building community knowledge and citizen engagement for the future. I guess that's around how public space is available and meaningful. We have really got to collaborate with our communities and our citizens and our multiple partners around it. We're only one of three tiers of government, and you can imagine every layer of government has layers of policy and procedure, and then also every discipline that is involved with the delivery of a public space also has its approaches and its focus. So when you think of the life cycle of a public space in a way, you have to understand what does the community need, what is the shared vision, what kind of uses for this public space, how can it be funded, what are the policy levers to enable it to be delivered, how can it be constructed, and how can it be managed and maintained. So we have questions on the whole delivery life cycle to create a quality public space.
Well, I think you mentioned, the fact that it's such an interdisciplinary approach is already a challenge because you require a lot of collaboration, not just between disciplines, but also between all levels of government. And I think for our GovHack participants, that means you're gonna think probably creatively and broadly, perhaps having interdisciplinary people in your team that will help. And the other thing is because I guess every community is so place-based, for example, like one suburb will have a different vision, like if every council has a different vision for their place. So
Yeah.
that makes it really quite difficult. So that just makes me more excited for the challenge and for the potential solutions that will come through. So how does that connect with open data? I mean, we're talking about place, trees, parks, libraries and museums, and they're really tangible things. What kind of open data did the department have that will help hackers this year to solve these problems?
Yeah, absolutely. Before I get into the detail of the data, I think it's really important to take it back to some core questions and the diversity of what you could tackle in this challenge. I think some core questions we ask around the quality of public space are really simple and they should resonate. Am I able to get there? Am I able to connect? Am I able to play and participate? And am I able to stay? I mean, these are some of the key things that are really challenging in our communities. So it's building evidence, it's demonstrating long-term change through testing and trialling, big systems change questions, and how do we effectively engage communities and really diverse communities in this whole process? And of course, we're in the setting of not just COVID, which has just set a context unlike anything that we've had in known history, but we're also coming out of record-breaking temperatures, months of severe drought across New South Wales that caused massive bushfires, or contributed to massive bushfires, floods, and then into COVID, and through all of this, the importance of public space in terms of resilience was really high. So a couple of the elements around the challenges there. In terms of data and what's available. We've got some really great open data sets. So we've created a public spaces location GIS layer that's available on our e-planning portal, Spatial Viewer. It will help you to understand the provision of public space in a given area. Additionally, e-planning portal is a one-stop shop for a whole range of open data, and I encourage you to go and have a look. The department has recently released the Government Property Index through e-planning. This means for the first time, you can now search and view New South Wales government-owned land via this portal. And there's also an e-planning spatial viewer, and it has really interesting layers around urban vegetation cover, natural hazard layers, heat vulnerability index, because particularly in Western Sydney, heat island effect, which is where there's a lack of trees and tree canopy, and how that can increase the temperature of that neighbourhood is surprising. So it is a real issue in terms of rising temperatures in Western Sydney and the importance of green public space. So in terms of a policy setting, I really encourage people to go to our website, and we can put some links up there. But there's an evaluation tool for public space and public life. And we also have a public space charter, which those two tools will give you an idea of the problems that we're trying to tackle.
Wow, I actually didn't know there are so many resources that's already out there. We definitely grab those links, join our Zoom session afterwards for those links. And from what I heard, I think the place challenge really is a combination of all the themes that GovHack is trying to tackle this year. There's environment, there's health and well-being, and I'm sure it definitely touches on the energy, water aspects of it. My last question is, what advice would you give to this year's participants, who are interested in all these challenges and things you just mentioned?
Tina, I actually think you summed it up really lovely. Start with place and start with community. What are the real challenges and needs of our community? Don't start with the data, start with what are the challenges coming up. What can we try and positively change? What are some of the really great outcomes in terms of social? We're talking about physical health and walkability. We're talking about mental health and the access to green spaces, environmental, cultural, as well as economic. So what is missing? What's the problem? And then think broadly and creatively, which I think you've already said, really key to the work we do. We found we don't always have the answers. So we've tried to use other forms of information, including reports and surveys when that data is not available. And we've also created our own, and that was part of creating that layer on the e-planning portal. So broadly, creatively, start with community and what positive outcomes. And some other examples of that broader data may be the local health district physical activity levels, the CEFA index, the total dwellings count and census, percentage of LGAs affected by bushfires. So kind of think outside the box, and good luck. I can't wait to see
I
what
definitely
comes
have
back.
to rewatch this recording to make notes of all these awesome resources, acronyms in my head. I love your advice because I asked and interviewed some of the previous GovHack winners, and guess what? Like, their winning secret was something across the line similar to what you said. It's about focusing on the people, focusing on who is going to be the end of the solution rather than jumping into the solution space, like being very clear of who are you serving and what do people want out of the solution. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Vanessa.
My pleasure.
And thanks. If you want to chat more to Vanessa and to the team behind GovHack, please join the Zoom session. So thank you so we're going to wrap up the live stream presentation now. Thank you all very much for joining us. I hope you all learned a little bit more about GovHack and have already registered on hackerspace.govhack.org. So now on the slide, we'll show you the link to join our Zoom. It's also going to be pasted in the chat. So please join us via the link on the slide or simply click the link on the chat box. So for some mingling, come and ask us any questions, talk to us and meet the team behind GovHack. And thank you again very much for joining us. I'll see you in the Zoom session.